And to complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. Former RCBC branch manager Maia Santos Deguito will appeal the Makati court's decision convicting her of 8 counts of money laundering over the $81 million Bangladesh bank heist. Deguito's legal counsel attorney Demetrio Custodio Jr. says they will avail of all legal remedies to reverse the court's ruling. The Makati City Regional Trial Court Branch 149 on Thursday found Deguito guilty beyond reasonable doubt of violating the law on anti-money laundering after allegedly facilitating the transfer of $81 million into accounts at her branch when a hacker breached the Bangladesh Central Bank in February 2016. The court was convinced that Deguito was also liable in creating the 4 fake accounts in RCBC Jupiter branch where the stolen money was deposited, withdrawn, converted to Philippine peso, and disappeared into a casino. The court sentenced Deguito to 4 to 7 years in prison and fined her of $109 million. But Custodio says that for now, his client will continue enjoying her provisional liberty as the decision is not yet final and executory.
So we will take a look and determine our proper course of action. But right now, we were going to file a motion for reconsideration.
Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte vows to pursue land reform, especially in areas that are hotbeds of insurgency in the country. In a speech in Dimasalang, Masbate on Wednesday, Duterte ordered the Department of Agrarian Reform to implement land reform, particularly in Masbate. The president believes this will solve the decades-long armed conflict embarked by the communist rebels who have been pushing for genuine land reform program.
Pagkatapos ng termino ko, yung lahat ng lupa ng gobyerno na ibigay na at yung marami by the hundreds, ilan reform mo? Ilan reform mo? Hindi talaga, hindi ito matatapos itong away na ito kung ipadaan lang natin sa bala. Kasi ang mga tao matagal nang nagdusa dyan sa lupa na talagang hindi makanila. Somebody has to do it and someone has to give. Kayong mga mayayaman, medyo you have to share it whether you like it or not. For after all, it is not my law. It's the law of Cory Aquino.
In other news, the Senate vows to prioritize deliberations on the proposed 2019 national budget when it resumes its regular sessions next week. According to Senate President Vicente Soto III, they will pass the proposal on third and final reading and will ratify it on January 27. The Congress approval of the budget proposal has been derailed last December 2018 over allegations of questionable insertions, which Budget Secretary Benjamin Diokno denied. The House of Representatives has already passed the General Appropriations Bill, but it remains pending in the Senate. Diokno has earlier said that the non-passage of the 2019 budget will cause the deferment of the implementation of the 4th tranche of salary increase for government workers. But some lawmakers say Diokno can use the reenacted budget to fund the pay hike. Senator Soto, meanwhile, thinks that it probably wouldn't hurt much if the scheduled pay increase for state workers would be delayed for a month.
1 month lang naman yung delay, kung tutuusin. Because we are assuring them that as far as the Senate is concerned, by next week, when we resume, we will be able to pass it on third reading.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines will deploy more than 10,000 of its forces to Mindanao for the upcoming plebiscite for the Bangsamoro Organic Law. The military says this is to help secure the process set to be held in Isabela Basilan, Cotabato, and the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao on January 21st. The plebiscite in Lanao del Norte and North Cotabato is scheduled in February. The plebiscite will allow residents to vote on the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law, which seeks to replace the ARMM. The Philippine National Police will also send a battalion of Special Action Forces to monitor the process, particularly in Cotabato, which is considered a problem area due to intense disagreements over the measure.
The Philippine National Police shall take the lead role in law enforcement operations against criminal syndicates and private armed groups with the active support of the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Nakalatag lahat ng ating security measures, especially in the case of Mindanao. Alam naman natin, naka-in place ang martial law. And we have added security measures and intelligence monitoring.
Meanwhile, senatorial aspirant Dr. Willie Ong vows to push for improved healthcare system in the country if he wins the upcoming midterm elections. Dr. Ong is a veteran physician who became a social media sensation for his helpful tips about almost every health condition. He has been using his medical knowledge to help those in need of medical aid. If given the chance to serve as a senator, Ong says he will push for the distribution of free medicines, free minor surgical operations, safe use of drugs, immunization, and food, and urge doctors to provide proper advice or diagnosis. Among others, Ong considers illegal drug addiction as a long-standing problem in the Philippines. Ong remains confident that he will win his Senate bid though he landed on the 21st to 29th spot in the latest senatorial survey.
Kasi parang sinasabi nyo, ilibre na natin yan, i-decriminalize na natin yan.
Yung konti lang, yung less than 1 gram. Yung less than 1 gram, pag nahulihan, ipapadiretso na sa rehab. Hindi yung dadalhin sa kulungan, makukulong siya doon. At na-addict siya doon, hindi naman siya kriminal, nahulihan lang siya konti, sasama mo doon sa mga kriminal. Pag doon sa kulungan natin, ano problema? Napakataas ng TB, tuberculosis, HIV, AIDS, mataas din sa kulungan.
Malacanang assures the public anew that President Rodrigo Duterte is in good health. The palace issued the statement after results of a social weather station survey that showed 66% of Filipinos are worried over Duterte's health. Based on the December 2018 survey, the number of Filipinos who are worried over the chief executive's health has increased by 11% from the last survey in September 2018, while 34% are not worried about the chief executive's health. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says there is no need to release Duterte's medical records as the president himself is updating the public about his health condition. Panelo is also optimistic about the report as it shows that many Filipinos are concerned about the president.
It will not, because the Constitution requires serious illness. The president knows he is not in serious illness, kaya he's not obligated to release anything about his condition.
And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kath, good evening.
Good evening, William. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has left China after his surprise visit with a backing from President Xi Jinping for a possible second summit with U.S. President Donald Trump. Trump and Kim first met last June, but progress over their denuclearization deal has since stalled. State media reported that Chinese President Xi said he hoped the two leaders meet each other halfway. Xi said China supports North Korea and the U.S. holding summits and achieving results, and supports relevant parties resolving their respective legitimate concerns through dialogue. He also said China would be ready to play a positive and constructive role towards maintaining peace and achieving denuclearization on the Korean Peninsula. British Prime Minister Theresa May is conducting an intense round of calls to European leaders as public opinion in the UK becomes increasingly divided ahead of the crucial vote on Brexit deal. Here's Jovic Burmas to tell us why.
With an impending Brexit date set for 29th of March, tensions among demonstrators from across the Brexit divide are running high, and other groups, including far-right fringe ones, are also throwing their opinions into the leave or stay fray. Throngs of demonstrators were seen gathering in front of the Palace of Westminster on Wednesday to hold up placards and shout slogans in the British capital of London. In an attempt to preempt any violent clashes, police were on high alert too, supervising the Brexit supporters and protesters who are opposed to the deal.
We're here to make it clear that we don't like the deal, and we'd prefer to stay in the EU.
And we're looking to have independence on the 29th of March this year, as enshrined in British law. And we expect the MPs who are debating the matter in the House of Parliament today to honour our democratic rights and the will of the people.
British MPs will resume debating on the Brexit deal starting on Wednesday in preparation for the crucial vote on the Brexit deal on the 15th of January. Former leader of the Liberal Democrats, Tim Farron, was surrounded by a group of Brexit supporters at the protest, arguing for half an hour on the street.
If Mrs May loses the vote next week, then she must rule out no deal. I think the result, the economic consequences of the country will be pretty catastrophic, and that is what we assume. I think she also should allow Parliament the ability to amend what she comes forward with, and you ought to give the people the final say. You know, this all began with democracy. It mustn't end in a stitch-up.
According to the British pollster, the Brexit deal has never had an approval rate above 27% inside the UK in a year and a half. Within the last 2 days, the members of Parliament have voted twice on the relevant amendments to Brexit. If Parliament votes down the Brexit deal next week, then the British government will need to make a Plan B for Parliament within 3 days. Prime Minister Theresa May is conducting an intense round of calls to EU leaders to plead with them for more concessions. Media reports said that May's closest aides in the Prime Minister's office are making preparations for what to do next if the vote is lost. Britain is scheduled to leave the EU on the 29th of March. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue, London, United Kingdom.
President Donald Trump has walked out of a meeting with Democratic leaders as negotiations broke down on the 19th day of a U.S. government shutdown. The Republican president ended talks after Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer stuck by the refusal to fund his planned U.S.-Mexico border wall. Trump called his meeting with the pair a total waste of time. Outside the White House, Speaker Pelosi said the legion of unpaid federal employees were collateral damage to Trump.
He thinks maybe they could just ask their father for more money, but they can't. And we think that the collateral damage that he is causing well, I'm going to yield to the leader to talk about that, but I would say this. If you don't understand financial insecurity, then you would have a policy that takes pride in saying, I'm going to keep government shut down for months or years, unless you totally agree to my position.
Some 800,000 federal workers will go without pay this week for the first time since the shutdown began. Police have arrested a man over suspicious parcels sent to several consulates and embassies in Australia. Meanwhile, the Democratic Republic of Congo is set to have a president from the opposition party, which is a first since the country gained independence in 1960. Eileen Cerudo tells us why.
In Congo, opposition candidate Felix Tshisekedi has won the Democratic Republic of Congo's tightly contested presidential vote, the Electoral Commission says. Provincial results put him ahead of another opposition candidate, Martin Fayulu, and the ruling coalition's Emmanuel Shadari. If confirmed, Tshisekedi will be the first opposition challenger to win since the DR Congo gained independence. Current President Joseph Kabila is stepping down after 18 years in office. He had promised DR Congo's first orderly transfer of power since the country's independence from Belgium in 1960. In Australia, police have arrested a man who allegedly sent suspicious parcels to consulates and embassies in Canberra, Melbourne, and Sydney. Emergency crews were called to several consulates on Wednesday after being alerted by staff. Some packages were reported to be labeled asbestos, but the contents of the parcels are still being identified. There were no reports of harm to staff. The Australian Federal Police alleged that the arrested man had sent 38 parcels. The unnamed 40-year-old male was charged with sending dangerous articles to be carried by a postal service, an offense which carries a maximum of 10-year jail term. And in Malta, migrants who have been stranded at sea for 19 days finally docked in Malta on Wednesday afternoon. 49 migrants from the German rescue ships Sea-Watch 3 and Sea-Eye were transferred at sea onto a Maltese military ship before being brought to the Hay Wharf at the maritime base in Pieta. Maltese Prime Minister Joseph Muscat said an agreement had also been reached for 249 other migrants brought to Malta by its military patrol boats in December to be redistributed around the EU or sent back to their country of origin. Eileen Sarudo, UNTV, News and Rescue.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Kath Dumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. The recent laboratory operation success of a team of medical researchers in China using the new 5G technology could help turn the proposed remote robotic surgeries into a reality. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
A Chinese medical research team has successfully completed a 5G-enabled remote robotic surgery test on a laboratory animal in Fuzhou City, East China's Fujian province, paving the way for carrying out surgeries on humans in the future. A surgery team from the Chinese PLA General Hospital conducted a liver removal surgery on a laboratory animal by remotely controlling robotic arms via 5G technology at an independently developed laboratory in Fuzhou. As optical fiber transmission would cause signal attenuation and latency, remote surgeries had not been clinically applied. But the new 5G technology turns remote robotic surgeries into reality.
The 5G technology enables doctors to do remote surgeries on many occasions, such as disaster relief, medical treatment in border areas, and assistance to lower-level hospitals by major hospitals. By sitting at a standard room, a surgeon can perform remote surgeries on patients hundreds and thousands of kilometers away via 5G technology.
The team from the hepatobiliary and pancreatic department of the hospital has been working on the Da Vinci system, or advanced robotic surgical system, for years before the 5G technology was developed. Da Vinci system was first invented in 1999 by US firm Intuitive Surgical. The robotic surgical system was named after the great Italian artist for his contribution to the study of human anatomy. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue.
Fighting Senator Manny Pacquiao prepares for his bout against Adrian Broner, slated on January 19 in Las Vegas, USA. But the 40-year-old Filipino boxing icon says he has not lined up any future fights after Broner and admits he has thought of hanging up his gloves to fully embrace his passion for politics. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
Fighting Senator Manny Pacquiao, who turned 40 last month, said on Wednesday that while he is focused on his title defense against Adrian Broner, he has considered life beyond the ring. The WBA welterweight champion knows he will have his hands full when he battles the hard-hitting Broner in Las Vegas on January 19 and is not lining up fighters down the road.
One at a time, especially at the age of 40. It's hard to think about the future fight.
He dismissed concerns that he has lost the knockout power that made the Pac-Man the sport's only 8-division world champion and among the best pound-for-pound fighters of all time. After a knockout drought, Pacquiao had a return to form in July when he stunned defending champion Lucas Matisse with a 7th-round knockout in Kuala Lumpur to claim the title. Pacquiao knows, though, that Father Time is undefeated and hanging up his gloves would give him a chance to fully embrace his other passion, politics. Already a senator, some believe that popular Pacquiao could take over from President Rodrigo Duterte when the election to replace him is held in 2022.
Well, if that God wants me to be, then why not? But I'm not thinking about that right now.
One place he won't find Pacquiao is in exhibition matches like the one his former rival Floyd Weather fought last month against Japanese kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa, a one-sided win for the American that was widely panned.
Well, exhibition match and then you knock him out, supposedly exhibition, so it's not good for the fans. Yeah.
Asked about his legacy, he said he had already proven himself in the ring and is more interested in connecting with the people.
Talking about legacy, my legacy is already there. I want to be my legacy. I want to be an inspiration to the fans, the people, not only inside the ring but outside the ring.
Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte declares last Monday of January every year as a special working holiday in observance of National Bible Day. The chief executive signed Republic Act number 11163 on December 20, 2018. This act recognizes the value of the Holy Bible as the core of Christian faith. And those are the reasons behind the news, January 10, 2019. On behalf of Rheena, Villamor-Camara, and Angelo Castro III. I am William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.